Welcome to another science exploration vibe. Today, we're going to explore about how does a quartz watch works and its energy conversion. Have you ever actually looked down at your wrist and wondered what kind of invisible magic is happening inside that tiny metal case to keep such perfect time? I mean, it really does look like magic, doesn't it? The hands just sweep across the dial, ticking away the seconds, minutes, and hours, and you don't have to do a single thing. But I promise you, it's not magic at all. It's incredibly cool, beautifully designed science. By the end of this explainer, you're going to understand exactly how a simple piece of crystal transforms energy into the ultimate timekeeping machine. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our science exploration map for today. We've got 6 main sections to cover in our invisible relay race. We'll start with inside a quartz watch, then look at power from the battery, the crystal heartbeat, turning the gears, the whole energy conversion journey, and finally, why choose quartz.
So Section 1, Inside a Quartz Watch. Let's peek inside and meet the amazing team of parts that make everything work together. Now, before we look at our modern marvel, it kind of helps to know how things used to be done. Old-fashioned mechanical watches relied on a bunch of tightly wound springs and heavy little gears. You literally had to wind them up yourself. But a quartz watch is completely different. It's actually a tiny electronic machine. Inside there, you've basically got 5 main team members. You've got a small battery, a special tiny piece of quartz crystal, a smart little electronic circuit or microchip, a tiny motor, and a set of gears. Think of it like a relay race where runners pass a baton around a track. These 5 parts are lined up in a very specific order, ready to pass the energy baton from one to the very next, keeping those watch hands moving with absolute perfection. Moving on to Section 2, Power from the Battery. Let's meet the very first runner in our energy relay race.
Every machine needs power to get going, right? A car needs fuel, your TV needs to be plugged into the wall, and for our watch, it all starts with the battery. Think of this tiny battery as a miniature power plant waiting patiently inside the case. It is packed absolutely full of stored chemical energy. When the watch is running, the battery takes those chemicals, creates a reaction, and brilliantly converts that chemical energy into electrical energy. That fresh electricity then flows out as a steady, invisible stream to power the electronic circuits. This amazing shift from chemicals to electricity is the absolutely crucial first step of our energy journey.
Which brings us to Section 3, the crystal heartbeat. This is where we discover the absolute secret ingredient of the whole watch. Let's talk about the piezoelectric effect. Now I know, that's a big, fancy science word, but the idea is actually like a hidden superpower. You see, quartz is a totally unique, natural material. When that electrical energy from the battery travels down the wire and hits the tiny piece of quartz crystal, the crystal starts to vibrate. It literally jiggles. If you squeeze it, or in this case, shock it with a tiny bit of electricity, it physically shakes back and forth perfectly. We call this the heartbeat of your watch. Honestly, without this magic shaking crystal, your watch wouldn't have any clue what time it was. But here's the crazy part. It's not just a slow, lazy shake. This amazing little crystal vibrates a mind-blowing 32,768 times every single second. Let's put that into perspective for a second. A hummingbird, which is famous for how fast it moves, flaps its wings about 80 times a second. That already looks like a blur to us. But this tiny piece of quartz crystal, exactly 32,768 times in that same single second. It is completely invisible to our eyes, it makes absolutely zero sound that we can hear, but it happens with flawless mathematical perfection day in and day out. So we have all this incredibly fast vibrating happening deep inside the watch case. What do we actually do with it? Well, the watch's electronic circuit acts like a super fast referee with a stopwatch. Because the quartz vibrates at such a perfectly constant speed, the circuit's entire job is to just sit there and count. It counts 1, 2, 3. All the way up until it hits exactly 32,768 vibrations. The very split second it hits that exact number, the microchip knows that exactly 1 perfect second has passed. It never takes a break and it never loses count. This incredible microchip referee is what allows the watch to keep extremely accurate time. All right, Section 4, turning the gears. Let's see how this electrical counting finally turns into actual physical movement. Once our electronic circuit has counted a full, perfect second, it actually needs to do something to show you the time. So every single second, the circuit sends a small electrical pulse over to a tiny motor called a stepper motor.
It's called a stepper motor because it doesn't just spin wildly in circles like a fan motor. Instead, the electricity forces it to move just one specific tiny step forward at a time. This single step turns the tiny gears inside the watch, which are connected directly to the hands pointing at the numbers on the watch face. So that mechanical step translates the invisible electrical pulse into the physical movement we can finally see, creating that familiar precise tick, tick, tick as the second hand moves.
Next up is Section 5, the energy conversion journey. Let's recap and map out that entire invisible relay race from start to finish.
Let's walk through this full energy baton pass, kind of stepping back to look at the big picture. Look at how energy masterfully transforms here. Step 1, it starts as chemical energy resting quietly in the battery. Step 2, a reaction happens, becoming electrical energy. Step 3, that electricity flows into the quartz crystal to create those super fast mechanical vibrations. Step 4, the smart circuit reads this and turns it back into electronic pulses. Step 5, those pulses rotate the tiny stepper motor. And finally, Step 6, the motor turns the gears, causing the movement of the watch hands right across the finish line. From chemicals all the way to physical movement, it's just a perfect chain reaction.
And that brings us to Section 6. Why choose quartz? We know exactly how it works now, but we have to ask a very practical question. Why do we use this crystal setup instead of other ways to power a watch?
If we compare a quartz watch to a traditional automatic or mechanical watch, the differences become pretty clear. Now, mechanical watches are fantastic, beautiful feats of engineering. They have a real charm to them. But they rely on your actual wrist movement or springs winding down for their power source. Because they use so many moving mechanical parts, they can actually run a little fast or slow depending on the temperature or just how you wear them. But a quartz watch, it uses its battery and the steady, unchangeable vibrations of that amazing crystal. Because that 32,768 vibration count is so flawlessly steady, a quartz watch is far more accurate. Plus, because there are fewer complex moving parts, it's much cheaper to build and incredibly easy to maintain. So, the crucial point to take away from this explainer today is that this tiny team inside your watch works seamlessly to transform energy and keep perfect time. From a battery's chemicals all the way to the ticking hands on the face, the quartz crystal is the amazing beating heart that makes modern, reliable timekeeping possible. Next time you check the time, remember the invisible relay race happening right on your wrist. If you find the video informative, please like the video. Thanks.